Very few people have the chance to venture this far north, to a land shaped by howling winds and towering glaciers. But this land is far from lifeless. This is a place where nature thrives, full of wildlife, vibrant colours, rich textures, and the raw beauty of the Arctic. Over the next 11 days, we'll navigate these icy waters into some of the most remote wilderness on Earth. This is my journey north with Quark Expeditions. This is Greenland. Our journey starts in Reykjavik, Iceland, where we board the Ocean Explorer and celebrate the beginning of a trip of a lifetime.
Hello, how you going? Cheers.
Our room on board feels luxurious, comfortable, and spacious. We have our own balcony, living area, and desk, and stunning bathroom with heated floors. We have just boarded the Ocean Explorer here in Reykjavik, and we have a packed itinerary for the next 11 days. Let's get into it. We spend the afternoon meeting with the expedition team, going over our itinerary and exploring the ship. We couldn't have asked for better weather as we wandered the upper decks of the Ocean Explorer, soaking in the sweeping views of Reykjavik. The sun lit up the city along the shoreline with distant peaks framing the horizon, the perfect backdrop to mark the beginning of our adventure. We quickly set sail and begin making our way towards our destination, Greenland. Or so we thought. Sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate. With 6-meter swells in the forecast, our expedition leader decided to adjust our route for a smoother journey. This means we'll be spending our first day exploring the Westfjords of Iceland. The best part about these expeditions is that you never really know exactly where you'll end up. Everything depends on the weather. Thankfully, our expedition leader Amalia was incredible, quickly putting together an amazing last-minute itinerary based on the forecast. As we enter the Westfjords, we approach our first destination, Mongufoss, an enormous waterfall surrounded by basalt cliffs flowing straight into the fjord below.
We are all geared up and we're about to head out on our first zodiac trip here in the Westfjords of Iceland.
We land on the beach and set off to explore the area, crossing a bridge and winding our way through the moss-covered tundra. The team has set up a perimeter landing where guests can wander at their own pace with guides always nearby to answer any questions about the area. The waterfall drops 60 meters over rugged basalt cliffs, fed by a river that winds down from the surrounding mountains into the sea. The whole area feels untouched and peaceful, with just the sound of rushing water and the wind around you. The tundra here is bursting with blueberries, and we couldn't resist sampling a few along the way. After a couple hours enjoying the views, we return to the Ocean Explorer, capturing our last glimpse of the stunning waterfall. Then, we spot our first wildlife of the journey, a pod of humpback whales. Crossing the Denmark Strait meant facing rougher seas, with the ship rising and falling to the rhythm of the waves. Northern fulmars and kittiwakes trail behind the ship, the perfect subjects to photograph and a welcome distraction from the creeping seasickness. It really is peaceful to just watch and listen as the wind howls around us and the waves crash against the ship. It's a type of chaos that feels strangely calming. We gather inside and are welcomed with bubbles to meet the captain and discuss our updated itinerary based on the forecast.
Stuff we saw today and hopes and dreams for the next day.
We wake to our first view of East Greenland, greeted by cloudy skies and rain. But soon after, enormous icebergs begin drifting past the ship, a sight unlike anything I'd ever seen.
We've just gained approval from the captain to fly. Let's do it.
After capturing some incredible views with the drone, it's time to head out on the zodiacs to explore the icebergs and nearby colonies of kittiwakes. These small, gull-like birds are perfectly adapted to life along Greenland's cliffs, nesting on steep, rocky ledges to stay safe from predators. We continue our zodiac cruise to explore more of the basalt column coastline, rising hundreds of meters from the sea. The contrast of our yellow jackets against the dark, towering cliffs made the scene feel even more dramatic. As we push further into Scoresby Sund towards Vikingbugt Glacier, we quickly become surrounded by ice. The whole crew was in awe as the wind and rain calmed and icebergs floated silently by, glowing blue and white in the soft Arctic light. And then it happened. Our first polar bear sighting. A mother and cubs in the distance, swimming between the ice. It was such a special moment to witness. We stay quiet as the ship backs away to give them space and soak in the moment, appreciating just how rare and incredible this experience is. The afternoon brought us back into the zodiacs, and this ride was every bit as breathtaking as the first. We slowly navigate through the ice, listening to the cracking of icebergs and gentle lapping of water against the hull. As we approach the glacier, our guides spot another polar bear with her cubs in the distance. To say we were lucky on our first day would be an understatement. We end the day in the sauna, watching the icebergs drift past the windows and reflecting on what had already been an unbelievable first day in Greenland. Morning brings a burning sunrise, with light beaming through, glowing on the jagged peaks and illuminating the icebergs. The colours shift and dance across the landscape, and with a rainbow in the distance, this made for a truly magical Arctic scene.
We just woke up to the most amazing sunrise. We're about to go and explore Skillebugt, the little island behind me here. And then we have a super adventurous day ahead of us this afternoon. Very excited to see where it takes us.
It's hard to truly capture the scale of these icebergs, but having the ship nearby helps give perspective. No matter how many we photographed, it never got old. Each iceberg is unique, with its own shapes, deep blues, and towering heights that make every shot feel fresh. Today we explore Ittoqqortoormiit, a small island to the east of Skillebugt at the mouth of Vestfjords. The name translates to Little Island, which is certainly a little easier to pronounce. We head ashore and split up into groups to hike and explore the island. After visiting some old ruins, we spot a group of rock ptarmigans, which are small birds similar to grouse that live in the Arctic year-round. We continue on and spot a friendly Arctic hare, perfectly camouflaged into his environment. We head back to the Ocean Explorer and slowly cruise deeper into the fjord.
We are slowly moving through the fjord, and there are these massive icebergs just drifting by us. It's super humbling to see.
Expeditions like this offer such a unique and slow way to experience a place. Being able to step right outside your room and watch the world slide by feels surreal. Or you can even head up and enjoy the views from the jacuzzi. We arrive at our afternoon destination, Skillebugt. With massive peaks looming above us, we knew we had to send up the drones to capture the view from above. But once we start flying, it isn't the peaks that catch our attention, it's the water. The ship's movement stirred up the glacial sediment beneath us, creating these unbelievable patterns across the surface. We were truly blown away by how incredible this looked from above. With the expedition guides giving us the go-ahead for our perimeter landing, we jump into the zodiacs and head towards the shoreline. As we approached, the scale of the landscape became even more impressive, with rocky and steep peaks rising straight from the water, capped with the perfect dusting of snow. Everywhere we look, the wilderness reveals its details. Tiny wildflowers pushing through the moss, rocks streaked with lichen, and crystal clear streams tumbling down from the peaks above. There really is something undeniably magical about this place. Another early morning brings tired eyes as we move through the fjord toward the Bjorne Islands. The fjord is framed by peaks and icebergs in every shade of blue, while low-hanging clouds drift along the mountains, casting a quiet, almost otherworldly atmosphere to the scene. Stepping onto shore, we set up the drones to reveal this stunning landscape from the sky. As the other guests begin to arrive on the zodiacs, it was time to group up and begin our guided hikes. The Bjorne Islands, meaning Bear Islands, despite their name, aren't home to polar bears, but rather a striking cluster of rocky islands carved by glaciers long ago. Covered in colourful mosses and scattered with small wildflowers, they offer a surprising contrast to the towering cliffs and icebergs surrounding us. Before long, we spot some wildlife in the distance. Our group stand and watch this small herd of muskox for some time, the sound of camera shutters clicking as we try to capture their wild and woolly charm. Muskox have been around since the Ice Age, built for survival with thick layers of fur and a woolly undercoat so warm that it's considered one of the finest natural fibers in the world. I couldn't help but think they just look like a shaggy mop with horns. We continue our hike across the tundra, taking in the sweeping views and spot more muskox grazing in the distance. It was a chance to slow down and truly appreciate the feeling of being immersed in this Arctic wilderness.
Today we're visiting the Bear Islands here in East Greenland. We've just got back from an amazing zodiac trip and a guided hike. We saw tons of wildlife, icebergs floating in the distance, and these beautiful peaks surrounding us. We're about to have a quick lunch and then head back out on the zodiacs this afternoon.
A quick afternoon zodiac cruise takes us around the islands, where the massive icebergs and snow-capped peaks make us feel so tiny in this enormous landscape. After soaking in the scenery, it's time to dive in for a polar plunge. The water is absolutely freezing, shocking every part of my body the moment I hit it. But the exhilaration was unforgettable. The next morning, we wake to a serene Arctic dawn, with mist clinging to the peaks and the icebergs drifting silently through the fjord. Our first zodiac cruise is cold and wet, but that doesn't stop us from marveling at the immense peaks and bright blue icebergs all around us. cameras click non-stop as we try to capture every angle, and even in the cold, the sheer beauty of the Arctic keeps us energized. As we photograph the stunning icebergs, we quickly change lenses when we spot something in the distance. A polar bear on the ice. This experience felt utterly surreal, and I'm so grateful to have captured images of this beautiful creature in the wild. After an hour or so, we move on to get a closer view of the glacier, its massive face rising straight from the water. The sheer scale and texture of the ice was breathtaking, with deep crevasses and brilliant blue hues. We switch off the engine to float silently, listening to the crackling of ice as it releases oxygen bubbles that have been trapped for up to 1.5 million years. It's a humbling reminder of just how long this landscape has been frozen in time. When we board the ship, I can't help but to immediately run back to the room to check out some of the images from this magical morning. We set sail towards our next destination and head to the bridge for a behind-the-scenes look at how the Ocean Explorer navigates through these remote Arctic waters. The afternoon consists of a community visit to Ittoqqortoormiit, one of the most remote settlements on the planet. It's home to only around 350 people that live here year-round, relying on hunting, fishing, and local trades to sustain their community. We head straight over to see the town puppies and sled dogs. We watched as the sled dogs were fed fresh seal meat, tails wagging and noses twitching with excitement. Trained from a young age, these dogs help the locals travel across the ice and snow, carrying supplies and keeping traditions alive in one of the most isolated places on Earth. We continue our stroll through town, taking in the details and saying a quick hello to some fluffy and friendly locals. The houses in Greenland are painted bright reds, yellows, and blues, which originally helped residents identify their purpose, like red for churches and trade buildings, yellow for hospitals, and blue for fishing factories. Back in the day, there were no street names or house numbers, so colour was a practical way to navigate, especially through the snow. Today, the colours still brighten the towns and give each community its own unique character. As our time in Greenland comes to a close, we set sail across the Denmark Strait. This full day of travel gave us the perfect chance to reflect on the trip, catch up on some editing, and pass time noodling on the guitar as we make our way toward the coast of Iceland. Our final day on board the Ocean Explorer takes us to the Westmannaeyjar Islands, a small volcanic archipelago off the south coast of Iceland. Known for its dramatic cliffs, seabird colonies, and rugged landscapes, the islands are home to just a few thousand residents. Before we can dock, a local pilot has to come aboard to guide the ship safely into the port. But with winds gusting over 120 kilometers an hour, we decide to cancel our day on shore and tour the islands from the ship. As disappointing as this was, it gave us the chance to see the Westmannaeyjar Islands from a completely different perspective. From the deck, we could admire the rugged cliffs, dramatic volcanic formations, and huge seabird colonies. We stood on the outer decks, photographing the thousands of seabirds circling the ship in the howling winds. Our approach into Reykjavik marks the close of our Greenland expedition. We gather in the main hall to recap the highlights, share stories, and celebrate the incredible experiences we've had over the past days. I feel incredibly thankful to have experienced this journey, seeing some of the most remote and breathtaking landscapes on Earth with my own eyes.
It's our last evening here on the Ocean Explorer, and I want to say a huge thank you to the team on board for making this the trip of a lifetime. We had a jam-packed schedule, saw everything we wanted to see, and made some incredible memories. I cannot recommend this trip enough to anyone looking to do a Greenland expedition. Thank you so much for the memories. I'll see you on the next one.